Hi everyone, my name is Jayla Manzanares, and I wanted to take a few moments to introduce myself to you all since I won't be able to meet you in person at back to school night and give you a little bit of background about myself and the course that I will be working with your student for this first quarter. I am a business and marketing teacher here at Rocky Mountain High School, and I am entering my 5th year as an educator. All 5, including this one, are obviously spent at Rocky. Before my time as a formal educator, I actually spent a small stint working at Triple Crown Sports, and then prior to that I was a student teacher here at Rocky as well, where I was really getting a feel for the culture and figured out that this is really my home as an educator. In my time here at Rocky, I've served a few different roles. I have been a coach for both the softball and baseball programs, and I've also found my home in a few of the different clubs and organizations here at Rocky. I currently work as the head FBLA advisor, and that's our Future Business Leaders of America, offering a wide variety of competitive events for students to participate in at the district, state, and national level. I am an assistant advisor for DECA, which is essentially just a marketing focused competition. Works very similarly to FBLA, and then I also serve as the GSA advisor for our Gender Sexuality Alliance, which basically offers resources, education, etc. to LGBTQ+ students and allies of that community. So very involved within the Rocky community. Before I actually graduated from Colorado State University with my bachelor's in history. I thought I wanted to be a high school history teacher, and then after working in business my first few years as a teacher, I realized that this was really the content that I have enjoyed teaching so much, and I think it's super practical for all the students to have, especially with the courses that I'm teaching. So before I get into those courses a little bit more, just quick background on my family. I have a 2-year-old at home. She's awesome. She turned 2 at the end of May, so we enjoyed summer in the water, and she's a lake baby, as you can see in the pictures. Really just loves to be at the pool and swimming around. She's my little fish. Yeah. I'm also working in my master's program currently. I just feel like it's important to share. So if things seem disorganized, I promise I'm trying my best to balance work, school, and home life. But like students, sometimes we can all get overwhelmed with some of that stuff. So I'll do my best to communicate and make sure that I'm not letting that interfere with anything within the classroom. Just some more background for courses that I currently teach. I am the Career and Financial Planning, one of the Career and Financial Planning teachers here at Rocky. I also currently have the 2 sections of Business Economics, which your student is enrolled in currently. And then I will be teaching, not the event marketing course this school year, but instead the international marketing. So that's a brand new course to Rocky, and we're excited to get that started in the 4th quarter. I've also taught Lobo 101 and the business leadership class, which is essentially our business capstone class. So I've worked with the incoming students here at Rocky and also those who are prepping for their way out. Like I mentioned before, I will be having your student in my business economics course, either 3rd or 4th period. And I just wanted to give you some quick information about that course and make sure that you just have a general idea of concepts we'll be covering and ways that you can contact me if you need something throughout the quarter. So my best form of communication is through email. You can reach me at the email address here. It's jmanzanares@pscschools.com. I currently spend most of my time in my classroom, and I do not have a direct line to my classroom, so I just wanted to make sure you were all aware of how to contact me. And then I will be using the remind code if I need to make big announcements or if there's something that's changed for the students. Maybe I decide to hold off on a homework assignment because it's not working for a student or something along those lines. I'll communicate that through the remind that I have set up for the course, as well as through Google Classroom. Google Classroom is where I do all the posting of assignments and any announcements that I have. I use this kind of as a hub for the course, so if a student's gone, they can stay caught up with what they would be learning the day they missed, understanding that obviously we all have some different going on in life, so that will be the way that I communicate with students. Other things that I want to point out for you all: we will be going over 4 units in this course, one of which will be this economic way of thinking, basically the introductory unit, where we're talking about basic economic concepts and just laying the groundwork for us to build upon in units 2, 3, and 4. Unit 2 is going to be focused on microeconomics, where we really take a look at supply-demand equilibrium and understanding how the smaller scale, smaller scope of economics is studied. Then we'll take a look at macroeconomics, focusing on the larger picture. And then finally, Unit 4 is kind of a smorgasbord of some different international global economic concepts, bringing in some more of the political aspects that oftentimes go with economic theory. And then I've also added a behavioral segment to behavioral economics segment to the beginning of the course that we've been working on just prior to the start of Unit 1. Grading scale is pretty straightforward. If you should have any questions as we're going through the course, please feel free to reach out. I want to make sure that I'm transparent and communicating with you as much as possible. I'm going to be sending home a permission slip for a few films that we watched that I think are really beneficial for the course. They are rated R, so I will be sure to tell you which films those are, why they're rated R, and then also give you a heads up of when we'll be watching those, just to make sure if you aren't comfortable with those films or your student watching those films that we get them set up for a supplemental activity. Otherwise, a few more expectations. I think we're all pretty aware that this school year is not going to be normal, quote-unquote normal, like we have been used to having in the past. My biggest things to expect are just communication from me and then communication between myself and the students. I really encourage them to advocate for themselves and to communicate with me sooner rather than later if they are needing support or having an issue in the course. That way we can work through that as soon as possible. Grading, I try to balance grading with a combination of content. Do you understand the material that we're covering? With, are you learning, developing, growing as a person, or your character rather? How does that look as we go throughout the course? What I mean by that is, are you somebody who's cheating to get the end result to get the points? Because that's going to hurt your grade. Versus, did you maybe not understand all the material, but you tried to work the processes that I asked you to? I'm going to reward you for that effort, and then circle back and make sure that you do understand the material that you may not understand leading up to that final grade. So some more things, tech issues, let's fix those before they become a significant issue. Obviously, as I mentioned before, I rely on the internet pretty heavily in Google Classroom. The biggest thing, I think, is just patience. I'll have patience with your students. They, I hope, have patience with me, as we're all going to be challenged in a wide variety of ways, and things change, and their changes happen frequently. We've seen that in the past school year with the district, so let's just stay patient with each other. And again, that communication is really important when we think about all those possible changes that could come. And then one of the biggest things I want to point out is I want to make sure that all students are feeling safe. Obviously, with masks being a mandate, hopefully that happens where students are feeling safe, knowing that that's a precaution that we're all taking. But also, if students feel like we need to be cleaning or sanitizing more, always open to those conversations and want them to communicate any way that they would feel more safe in the space. If you have any questions for me, like I said before, please feel free to reach me via this email address. I will leave the video here so you can pause it and take a look at that email address and write it down if you need to. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great fall and a great start with your students getting back into the school year. Take care.